This is the story of how I found magic again. Today was a pretty nice day, a little windy, so it was kind of cold. It was colder in the morning, and I left early. I went to a toy warehouse. That's a whole other story. But at the end of the day, I was finishing off. I went to the grocery store. I was coming home. I heard some cars honking behind me, and it triggered a memory of what happened to me. It was either last week or the week before, where the same kind of thing happened, where I had dropped my gloves and a car kept honking at me. I deliberately do not pay attention to when cars honk, because I usually don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to look up anyway, because if it's not for me, I don't want to see what somebody is trying to get attention for. Anything like that I'll always avoid. But I knew that my gloves were hanging loosely out of my pocket. It's just really strange. Is that a coincidence? Two cars honking at me when I dropped my gloves. The same pair of gloves. No, I mean, it's just gloves and dropping them. The fact that two separate cars, probably two. I never even looked at these cars. I did look at the first one, but I totally ignored the one today. But I knew that's what they were doing, because if it wasn't for that car 2 weeks ago, I would have never clued in that I dropped one glove. I dropped two gloves the first week, and this week I dropped just one. When I realized I had already crossed an intersection, I just turned around, waited at the light, crossed again, went back. Of course, there was my glove, scooped it up, turned back around, and came home. Now, I wouldn't normally think anything of this, and there was a time in my life where I became very jaded. A coincidence is nothing but a coincidence, was my belief, and what I would preach as a youth. So many magical things happened to me. There were so many coincidences in life, but you live through life enough that the coincidences don't add up, so you become jaded by them. Basically, that's what happened to me. So I believed in nothing for this long, dark period, I guess you could say. Here's the main story. Here's the good story. This is the story of how I found magic again. So I was renting an apartment in New York. I had a friend and a coworker who was super into yoga and meditation. It was important to her, and it was important to our company. So I took part. It wasn't like it was harmful or anything. It's not like it was, well, I'll get to that part later on. But it wasn't detrimental to me. It's a positive thing. There's no harm in taking part in this stuff. So there was a meditation class. She wanted me to go, and I went. And the meditation lead, the girl giving the meditation, she was a really pretty girl. I noticed her. And my friend really liked her. Like, she also taught yoga classes, and she took me to her yoga class, and she introduced me to her. She was like a, what do they call those people? A personal spiritual guide. So went to one of her meditation sessions, met her there briefly, went to one of her yoga classes, formally introduced to her, I guess. And then that's when things started happening. Okay, New York's not a very big city. In fact, I would walk from the top to the bottom of Manhattan all the time, just because it's an amazing place. And when I go there, as soon as my feet hit the ground, I just feel the energy. You can feel the energy. And I've always equated that to the amount of people that are there in one place. So you're going to feel energy. You're going to feel all of those people humming. Anyway, it feels magical in its own right there. Okay. So I walk, when I'm in New York, I walk everywhere and walk all the time and just look at everything and feel everything, and it just feels amazing. And I love being out on the street. Some people don't like certain areas. I like every area. Times Square is cheesy to some people. I don't even mind that. So many people there. It's so interesting to see all of the tourists. So I kept running into this yoga meditation lady all the time. So I would run into her on the street. And then I would run into her in another area of town. And then I would run into her in another area of town. I thought it might be fate, and I asked her, do you have a boyfriend? She did have a boyfriend. Unfortunately, I guess. But she says, we need to talk. There's a reason we keep meeting. We have to sit down and talk about this. So she says, come to my class tomorrow morning. Afterwards, I'm going to one of my clients' places. We can talk and walk on the way over. So I did her yoga class. It was great. So then we go for a walk. I asked her like questions like how she got into this and how does somebody become this. And she had stories of how she had a sick mother that she took care of and her mother was very spiritual and all of this stuff. So it really made sense why she was into this energy healing or mindfulness and whatever she's into, that hojo mojo stuff. So we're walking, okay, and then we sit down on the steps of her client because there's still time, and that's where we're talking. And I'm just telling her what I have problems with because that's what I thought the purpose of us meeting is that she is a authority on inner peace. So I told her, these are the things that I have problems with. I thought this must be the reason I met her. So I tell her that I judge people all the time and I can't stop it. And I love meeting new people. I meet them, but then I learn more and more what their values are. And I don't agree with them. So then I discard them from my life. And she just says, this is what you have to do. You have to stop yourself when you're judging and just notice. And that's pretty much what enlightenment is. You notice. You stop yourself when you're doing something wrong. And you say, stop, no, and you identify. That is what she told me, is what you do. I kind of knew that already, but it was confirmed, and I still do that today, actually. So whenever I do catch myself, I say, Jason, no, stop, because that's just somebody else living their life, doing what they know, doing what they know. So we're finishing up talking, and I say to her, it's been such a long time since I believed in magic. And I told her that I believe in magic again. There was just too many coincidences of our meetings and the things that we talked about. And she points over to a spray-painted sidewalk where I don't even remember what the phrase is now. It was something like, magic is everywhere. Something like that. She says, that's what my client does. The one that lives here that I'm going to go see. She spray paints that around the city. It's some kind of movement that she's trying to create and spread. So that's when I started believing in magic again. And I no longer see coincidences as coincidences. I believe that there's purpose and reason. Either we make them ourselves or the world makes them for us collectively. So more stories that I do have to do in the future will contain yoga and how it destroyed my body and the yoga religion connection and then the toy religion connection. I never knew I could do a story time. Let me know if this story time worked out for you. I don't think I'm coherent enough to tell a story, but luckily to the wonderful possibilities of editing, I can probably cut this up and make it slightly coherent. I love when you comment. I love that you listen. I love you. And thank you so much for sharing these memories with me. If you want to hear more stories, let me know. And we'll keep doing this. Ring my bell so you will be notified when I do upload new videos. I love you. We'll see you next time. Gotta go to bed. Do you like this towel so I don't get my wet hair in my pillow? I really have to do an OCD story. Hey, I'm back. I want to make this video 10 minutes so I can put ads at the end. It feels so wrong for me to do and say something like that, but that's the world we live in, and if you want to have a successful YouTube channel, you have to tell people to like your videos. You have to put advertisement in them. And you guys are aware, I love that we're in this place in society. And everybody's like, I really love your videos, and I watch the ads because I know that it's good for your channel. Unbelievable. This is so weird. None of us want to see these advertisements, yet we just sit through and we talk about them and we acknowledge them. That's not what I wanted to say here at the end, though. I wanted to say that after the talk I had with the girl, She invited me to a party, the Magic Movement party. It's so strange the things that we remember, because I didn't remember that what this party was we sat down and we listened to people tell their magic moments. I don't remember the exact stories, but the stories were amazing and they were all true. People like quitting their jobs or making snap decisions or feeling somebody who was sick. Magic and connection is everywhere. It's really awesome that we get to connect despite all the advertisement. There's some great stuff out there. In between all of the ads, all of the things that we think we have to do, there's some pretty amazing connection. I love you again.